on Wednesday, February 12th here. And with that, we can find the projection for the next I bond rates. So the I bond rates are quite interesting. You take 6 months of data. We're here with 4 months of data, so we're more than halfway. Let's grab the latest numbers for CPI, plug it into my projections, and see how it's looking. Let me share my screen. We'll go right to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, get that CPI data. All right, so we see CPI data rose 0.5% in January. That's higher than the 0.3% projection that was previously. So inflation is coming in higher than expected. Let's see what CNBC has to say about it. It says Dow futures tumble 400 points after January inflation data comes in hot. So certainly it seems like inflation is picking up. Bad news at the grocery store, but good news for your I bonds, perhaps. So let's take a look and plug that in. I've got my projection ready to go here. Now that's for the fixed rate. We'll talk about that in just a second. Okay. All right. Now we got to grab that data. Now it's CPI-U, and they do all kinds of things. Somewhere in here, you'll see, there you go, seasonal adjustment. And so we've got to keep that in mind. We're looking for the true data. It's the 6-month data that we're looking at. So let's grab the index number from CPI-U. There it is, 317.671. That doesn't mean too much until we plug it in. So I'll plug in here for January. All right, so what I've got here is data on the average 6-month, the 4-month situation, then followed by the 2 months of it, right? If it's a 6-month deal from September through March, you learn it in April, starts in May. Historically, these 4 months, these first 4 months, the winter months have a very low inflation rate, maybe 0.5%. Annualize that, perhaps it gets to 1.5% annualized, but it's historically a very low amount. So we'll see where we're coming in, 0.45% on average. And where's that right now? So I got the 3.17671. I take that. I'm curious. I'm just going to see where it's at right now. If 0.45 is the average, let's make this bigger for everybody. All right, 0.75. So we're coming in ahead. Now, 0.75 versus 0.45, you basically got to triple that. We're coming in basically about 0.8 higher inflation than normal if you're analyzing it over this winter time frame. So when I plug in those numbers, that on average, the inflation keeps on going by another 1% on top of what's sitting there now, 1.73%. Let me make that bigger for you. 1.73% is where it's at now, except this is the 6-month rate. You've got to double it. So the inflation projection for May right now, that's your renewal rates. If you already have it, that's brand new. That's coming at 3.46%. That gets added on top of what's called a fixed rate. Now I've got the fixed rate data. There's no formula for the fixed rate. But what you do is you take all the data here. This is all the Treasury real rates that are out there. And my associate, David Inna, colleague, if I can call him that, friend perhaps, he's a great resource at tipswatch.com. His suggestion is you take a look at the 5-year data, take a look at the 10-year data, average it out, and take 65% of that to see that's where it might come in for the fixed rate. So the 5-year data is suggesting 1.2. The 10-year data is suggesting 1.3. I'm looking here just in January and February, and the data is trending down. Right now, that fixed rate is 1.2. So if it's in between 1.2, 1.3, perhaps it's trending down. 1.2 is maybe a more likely situation on there. Oh, that's my raw data. Let's get here. So if we're at 3.46 for projected inflation rate, and we're at 1.2 for a projected fixed rate, let's add that on up. Now, it's not exactly an add, but it's pretty close to it. Some multiplication there, but 4.66% is looking like starting in May, I bonds are perhaps becoming competitive again. That's a decent 1 year rate compared to what you can find right now in the Treasury market and in the CDs and high yield savings accounts. So it looks as if on I bonds, the inflation rate is heading up and the fixed rate is likely to stay the same. Please send me any comments, any questions that you have, and make sure to subscribe to the Mr. Retirement YouTube channel so that we can give you those updates every month as we see them coming in. Enjoy the rest of your day.